Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and explore the fascinating reality of global AI adoption in the first quarter of 2026. If you've been paying any attention to the tech space over the last few years, you know the conversation has totally shifted. We're no longer just talking about what AI can do in a vacuum or in some research lab. No, we're looking at how it's fundamentally rewiring global economies right now. Using the absolute latest data from the Microsoft AI Economy Institute, we're going to explore exactly who is using these tools, where the growth is just exploding, and really uncover what all of this means for the future of work.
It brings up a massive question, doesn't it? What actually happens when AI stops being this novelty or a fun experiment and just becomes a routine, daily habit for the global workforce? Today, we're going to track the data from the widest possible global lens, and then we're going to zoom all the way down to a specific and, quite frankly, surprising twist regarding human employment.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Global AI Snapshot for Q1 2026.
Check this out. Globally, generative AI usage jumped by a full 1.5 percentage points this quarter alone. Think about that for a second. That means 17.8% of the entire world's working-age population, people aged 15 to 64, are now using generative AI products. When you scale that to the global population, a 1.5% jump in a single quarter, that represents tens of millions of people, fundamentally changing how they search, how they write, and how they get their work done every single day.
When we look at the national leaderboard, the numbers are pretty wild. The UAE is just absolutely dominating right now, sitting at a staggering 70.1% diffusion. That's up over 6% from the previous half year. Singapore is right on their heels at 63.4%. But if we look a little further down the list, it's interesting, the United States, which is where so many of these foundational models are actually developed, has slowly moved from 24th to 21st place, with about 31.3% of its working-age population using these tools. It really drives home the point that adoption is truly a global race, not just a North American phenomenon.
That brings us to Section 2, the North-South divide and the widening adoption gap.
As we dig into the data, it's painting a pretty stark picture, and honestly, a deeply unequal reality across the globe. The adoption gap is widening, and it's widening fast. Right now, the global north is adopting AI at 27.5%, which is a gain of nearly 3 percentage points in just one quarter. Meanwhile, the global south is sitting at 15.4%, gaining only 1.3 points. So the global north is growing more than twice as quickly as the global south.
So the crucial takeaway here is that this divide isn't just about, having the budget for the latest software subscription. It's rooted in fundamental physical infrastructure. The data points directly to systemic, real-world challenges: limited access to reliable electricity, lower internet connectivity, and a baseline lack of digital literacy skills. And until those foundational gaps get addressed, the tremendous productivity benefits of generative AI really risk deepening our existing global inequalities.
Moving on to Section 3. Asia's AI growth wave. This is our new growth engine.
If you want to know where the real momentum is happening right now, you have to look at Asia. 12 of the 15 fastest-growing economies for AI adoption are in this region. We are seeing staggering quarter-over-quarter percentage jumps. I mean, it's almost hard to believe, but South Korea is up 43%, Thailand is up over 36%, and Japan jumped more than 34%. And this isn't just happening in advanced economies. Emerging economies like Vietnam and Cambodia are experiencing massive surges too.
And the driver behind this surge is absolutely brilliant. It's the incredible improvements in native language models. Historically, as you probably know, AI has been overwhelmingly English-centric. But models like GPT-4o and GPT-5 have completely changed the game, drastically reducing the performance gap between English and Japanese. On the MMLU Pro benchmark, which is basically this massive test of complex reasoning and knowledge, the GPT-5 model actually scored an 87% in Japanese. Actually, scratch that. It didn't just close the gap, it beat its own 85% score in English. AI is becoming highly capable in non-English tasks, making it immensely practical for daily workflows in local languages.
We are seeing this translate directly into real high-stakes expertise. To put that into perspective, early AI models used to score around 50% on the Japanese national examination for radiological technologists. Today, recent AI systems are passing that exact same medical exam with over 90% accuracy. That is a breathtaking step change in handling complex, domain-specific tasks in a local language.
Which naturally brings us to Section 4, the AI coding explosion, a completely new era of software. Thanks to incredibly advanced specialized coding models released by companies like Anthropic and OpenAI, think Claude Opus 4.5 and the GPT-5 Codex series, we've entered an entirely new era of software development. It's brought about this awesome phenomenon known as vibe coding. Essentially, vibe coding is a workflow where both developers and even non-developers can just express their ideas in plain, natural language. An AI agent then writes the code, and the human reviews and refines it. It turns tools from simple autocomplete functions into active, collaborative participants across the entire software lifecycle.
And the result? The sheer volume of software production has just skyrocketed. Globally, we've seen a 78% year-over-year increase in Git pushes. For those unfamiliar, a Git push is the metric used when developers upload coding changes online. So we are talking about almost double the amount of code being pushed. And over in Japan, fueled by those language model improvements we just talked about, they saw an even wilder 129% year-over-year increase.
But to truly grasp the scale of the automation happening behind the scenes here, the number of merged GitHub pull requests, which are basically proposed finalized code changes associated specifically with AI coding agents, has grown a staggering 28 times since June of 2025. It went from about 83,000 to 2.3 million in just 10 months. These agents are autonomously writing, debugging, and testing code at an unprecedented scale.
All right, Section 5, Impact on Developer Jobs. Let's look at the reality of this automated output. So we have to talk about the elephant in the room, right? With AI autonomously writing code, coordinating with other agents, testing the software, and generating pull requests, are human coders being replaced? If a single developer can now do the work of 10 thanks to AI, do we really need fewer developers overall?
Well, economists has this fascinating term to explain the current, somewhat counterintuitive reality. They call it the reinstatement effect. It basically works like this. When developer productivity increases, the cost of building software drops significantly. But because the demand for software is highly elastic, meaning as it gets cheaper to make, companies just want exponentially more of it, organizations don't just pocket the savings and fire their engineering teams. Instead, they respond to the cheaper costs by building way more software, expanding into wider use cases, and creating entirely new tasks that simply didn't exist before.
And the data actually backs this theory up perfectly, which is truly fascinating. Despite AI writing more code than ever before, U.S. software developer employment actually hit a record high of 2.2 million in 2025. That was an 8.5% year-over-year increase. And early data shows this trend has continued right into 2026. AI isn't replacing developers. It is dramatically expanding what they are capable of producing.
So, what's the big takeaway from this explainer? Ultimately, AI is supercharging entire industries, making software development broader, faster, and infinitely more practical. It has officially transitioned from a cool novelty to a critical driver of the global economy. But this leaves us with a profound challenge. How do we ensure these incredible productivity gains are shared equitably? With the North-South divide widening so quickly, we really have to ask ourselves, are we building a future where everyone across the globe gets to vibe code their ideas into reality? Or will the foundational infrastructure gap leave half the world simply watching from the sidelines while the other half accelerates? Think about that.